seen Blade Runner?
Sorry, everyone, that was a bit... Oh, no! That's how the podcast starts. Hello, welcome back. Notting Hill today.
Notting Hill.
There's nothing on the hill.
That's what it means. There's
Yeah,
nothing.
a little bit. I reckon they changed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
over
just
to
went
Old
like,
English.
no, there is something there. It stars Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts.
Nice. very nice.
When did it come out?
1999. United won the treble.
Yeah, so watched
Some
it.
facts up about it.
What did you think about it?
He's a little gimp, innit?
Oh, yeah.
Absolute
Richard
douchebag.
Curtis, the guy who wrote it.
No, Hugh Grant.
Hugh
with
Grant,
jacket
yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Every time he's walked through, he's just like,
Oh, yeah, the
"Was that
jacket.
apricots with honey?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I spilled orange.
I live in a little village just in London,
Yeah,
which is actually like Zone 2,
Mm.
like which.
Do you have a Charles Dickens book? We are a travel bookstore. So no.
Yeah.
To be fair, I like in the one of his redeeming qualities in it, other than me just being dead pompous all the time, is in the bookstore he's kind of brutal with everyone. Like the guy he works with, he's ruthless with. Like
Yeah, he's a
just
bit
lies
like
at him all the time.
like it's his place. He can because it's his bookshop in it. So, but he's not a gimp. He's Hugh Grant in his prime time of films. He's just
Heartthrob
you
guy.
think of that, Love Actually, About a Boy. It is just that as Hugh Grant as that character.
Yeah.
Bit of a mad storyline though, isn't it? Because obviously Julia Roberts is this huge film star. Anna Scott.
Yeah, Anna Scott. And they make that clear from the beginning. With those opening titles, it's so dramatic, and it's just like, she's a movie star. Let's get that in your head now. There's 100 different shots of her being like, and the music's dead dramatic.
Well, I thought that, like, that was... You see, I think that the first 30 minutes, first 40 minutes...
yeah.
The first 40 minutes is, like, quite good because... I liked the opening with all the paparazzi because that's obviously real footage of Julia Roberts.
Oh yeah, true.
That's actual like real footage of Julia Roberts, and they used it from Entertainment Tonight apparently.
Okay.
From like some segment because obviously she's been a star at that point since like the late 80s or something.
I was gonna say
like
she's probably
since Pretty Woman, which I think came out in like 1990.
one of, if not the biggest actresses at the time.
At that time.
She 100%. But it is like a dream, like kind of film, isn't it? Where
So obviously, like it starts straight away, and like and then the Hugh Grant voiceover comes on, and he's describing that like he's doing this voiceover, describing
he's always
Notting Hill
films, isn't he?
Yeah,
Does it with Love Actually as well, where it's because he's got such a elegant voice anyway. You can really listen to him, can't you? So
and he's like, it's my favourite place in London.
Instead of the markets, every Friday.
Markets every day, fresh fruit and veg and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes on to say, but the problem is that he's kind of painting Notting Hill as this like kind of almost like working class type, like whatever. It's like he describes it as a little village inside London or whatever. But I mean, it's in Zone 2, which like obviously because you have like the tube zones in London,
up to 6.
So like, so like obviously it depends on like if you live in Zone 2, like
you're very close to the centre.
And you're like
you're rich.
so rich.
You have
like,
got money.
Like Zone 2's sick as fuck. So
but he is when he's doing the books at the beginning of the scene, and he's like,
he's got no money.
Yeah, he's literally like, we've lost £300, and it's just like, God, what, like, and then like they're like, I know that cheer you up.
Yeah.
Latte.
Goes and gets a cappuccino.
Yeah. So you just got money to spend now.
But you know what's weird? That little guy goes off to get a cappuccino and he comes back and then they drink it like that and he goes, and then he goes, another one. And I'm like,
an orange juice, doesn't it?
How bizarre is that?
Yeah, that is a bit bizarre.
What, so you just drink cappuccinos back to back to back?
He gets an orange juice, doesn't he?
No, he goes, what about an orange juice?
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
Because it ends up being a scene where he bumps into Julia Roberts and soaks her.
And like that, almost is that just you're just like, right? Well, how can we get him to see her again? He goes for another coffee.
Yeah,
is that like you save the coffee?
It's why don't you just get a large?
Yeah. Oh, because then he has to be out of the store.
Do you know what? This is something which I hate about fucking like films in general and like it's usually American stuff, but like this whole thing of like going to get a coffee, like everything. Like I was watching some fucking series. It's called Devs. It's Alex Garland TV series for Disney that he fucking it's for FX, but I watched it recently because it's got this sciencey concept about it.
Yeah.
And like in the final episode, they're all wrapping it up. Nick Offerman's, in it, and he's going, in this pivotal scene that they're like departing and that they're about to like leave each other forever. And he goes, maybe one day we could get coffee. And it's like, why is it always fucking like as if like that's like the only thing that people ever do, like is just fucking meet up and drink coffee.
He says it to
I don't
her
think
as well.
I've ever been for a coffee with someone other than like maybe I don't know, like a stranger who like I'm meeting for a job interview or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't think it like even like in our lifetimes, I don't think we've ever like sat there going, oh, so I mean, if you're not busy tomorrow, do you fancy a latte?
Yeah.
Like we can, I know this coffee shop.
Sometimes go for a coffee, so
It's alright.
Who with?
I'll sometimes be like, I think it's one of those things where if you meet someone, it's not for a drink or it's like, but often it is like, should we discuss this job?
Yeah.
If it's like work related.
Because
I'll get myself a coffee.
Because I never realised this, like this, like in films when maybe because it's like they don't have a drinking culture as much all around the world, but especially like when people are like, I want to meet you for or they say to a girl like, maybe we can get a cup of coffee sometime, like that, right? And you're like, but you want to shag her though, so it's like, why don't you say let's go for a drink? Limber her up, you know what I mean? No, do you know what I mean? Like, fucking, it's like, I think it's even slyer to suggest going for a coffee because you're like, oh, let's get you fucking hooked on fucking caffeine.
Let's get you
I want to keep you awake.
Yeah.
I want you to be like up all night, just going.
Riding my.
What did we think of the
so Notting Hill.
Notting Hill, like Notting me.
No, but basically, like, I thought it was weird because, like, basically, like, the whole thing is meant to be like, what if a movie star fell in love with a normal, normal English guy? It's like Hugh Grant is an aristocrat. The way his face. You can tell by his face, you can tell by the way that he talks, that man's ancestors were friends with the king, right? 100%, right? And
he's royalty, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. And also, if you own a house in Notting Hill, even in the late 90s, and you own a business, you are from... Where's he getting that money from?
Yeah.
He's obviously getting that money from landed gentry, people, whatever. If they wanted to do a film about a normal bloke, like Finger, it would have been better for, Julia Roberts to, like, fucking go into, like, she's going to Greg's there. She's like, oh...
Going to Salford.
Yeah. It's just called Wigan.
Yeah, Wigan. Yeah, exactly.
That would be a classic remake.
No, exactly. Yeah, it was just called... It said Notting Hill. It was just called Wigan.
Wigan Hill.
Yeah. And then she she goes into the wanders into Greg's and fucking
man, what you say?
yeah.
What? So you fucking mint? You did a film?
Yeah.
You always did a film.
And then basically he bumps into her outside and he gets like pasty dust all over her and fucking like she's like,
do you want to come to a comedy rave?
No. She's like, oh, do you want to come to I've got my flat's in the high rise in the high rise flats.
Salford Shopping Centre. Yeah, you know where the S is. Yeah, that's the flat. Come up here a sec. Like.
The lodger's just a guy doing coke.
Yeah.
He comes in. This is Anna Scott. Oh, you want some of this? Yeah, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon here on a Tuesday.
To be fair, actually, Rhys Ifans, if that's how you pronounce
probably
his
is.
name, the
Rhys
guy,
Ifans.
the lodger. To be fair, he is probably like what a lodger would be like in Wigan, because he's so mental.
Eyeball Paul.
Yeah, Eyeball Paul.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense why he they don't match. Like, what's he doing? Is he?
How does he know him?
Yeah, and what's he? Do they ever say what he does?
It seems like he fucking just chills
he's just
out,
a dosser, isn't he? He's like a kind of like. But also it's like, so Hugh Grant, he's like this like obviously aristocratic guy who. But obviously, he's such a saint of a man that this guy's just taking the piss out of his flat, spitting, putting cigs out in the fucking,
leaving his bike fucking just like thrown on the floor. Near the door. Like, who the fuck does that?
Like, itching his arse and all this kind of stuff, and like Hugh Grant's just like, well, I guess I...
Exactly, just apologising to him.
Yeah.
Just the amount of times he says sorry in this film. There should be a sorry count for how many times Hugh Grant says that.
Yeah.
There's a bit where Rhys Ifans comes down with, he's like, what about this shirt?
Oh,
He
these
says,
t-shirts.
I love blood.
Oh,
And I was at first, I'm like, okay, that's a bit mad. But he's like, I don't exactly think that screams true love.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this guy, they're really selling that he's like, he's the most romantic guy. He even talks to his lodger about true love.
Yeah.
He
And
doesn't
he's
say,
just
I don't think she'll want to shag you with that on, mate. And then he keeps coming down with the dumb t-shirts.
It comes. And so like, I feel like, it's a little bit mad in terms of like, Hugh Grant, fucking, and then basically Julia Roberts comes into it. So they go into the apartment and he's doing all this fucking apricots in honey, banter, saying, "Do you want this?"
Honey. I mean, you probably could get apricots and honey.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Let's get the honey.
Yeah, and she's just going.
Yeah.
Also, again,
Staring
like,
at him.
would you like a tea?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Non-stop. Like a cup
Like
of tea.
constantly and stuff. Because there's a line in it where like later on in the film, like it kicks off and he goes, "How about we sit down and have a cup of tea?" And she goes, "Fuck your tea."
Yeah.
And
I'm like, that's shoving the English. Like, oh, he's so English.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
always
Like,
offers
English
a cup of tea.
And then so, but what's interesting is that like she kisses. So like they're about to go. I think she's about to leave, and I think she leaves.
Yeah.
And then she comes back for her bag, and then she's in the what would you call it?
Hallway.
Hallway. Yeah.
Hallway.
We all said
Hallway.
the hall. Yeah, he's in the hall, and then he's just standing there like that, and then she just randomly kisses him, and I thought sexual assault.
Because if he tried that, she'd go, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
I mean, we can have a cup of tea after this.
Yeah. Put a cup
Pussy though,
in
innit? Like, just lets her fuck off, doesn't he?
Yeah. So she bounces.
I suppose he is a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
about
true.
this,
Yeah.
Because again, if you go back to if that was in Wigan,
Yeah. She would have been
in Salford precinct.
knickers off.
Yeah. Like, he's like go like that, go fucking.
Yeah. Riding on the bike. Fucking hell, Rhys Ifans, get it!
Fucking hell, Ben!
He comes in and puts his finger in your mouth.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, bro.
To be fair though, he does say that at one point. Because at one point, Hugh Grant's downstairs on the couch and he's let her sleep in his bed.
Oh yeah.
And he hears him creeping and he thinks it's her and it's Rhys Ifans and he goes, "You know she's in your bed, right?" And like he's like, yeah. And she's like, "But you said that it all went well." And he's like, yeah. And he's like, "So you're not gonna slip one in?" Like that. And he goes, no. What are you talking about? He goes, "Do you mind if I do?"
Oh, bugger off.
Which I won't. Yeah. So basically, he doesn't go after her, and he's like being like, "Ooh," and then somehow I can't remember how he gets to the place where she's having a big press conference.
So she apparently leaves a voice note on his answer machine, which his lodger randomly just starts remembering. He's just like, "Your name's Anna Scott." And then apparently she doesn't use. She uses cartoon names, I think.
Yeah. And then he's like on the phone, and he's like, and then Rhys Ifans suddenly goes, "Flintstones?" And he's like, "Flintstone?" He goes, "We'll put you right through," like that. Like,
it's a bit weird because sorry, what did you say? And he's like, "Flintstones is a name." And then he has to pretend to be a journalist.
So
that is so
Horse and
mad.
Hounds.
So he turns up and like he gets out the lift and there's another bloke.
The guy's following him. He just keeps going.
Yeah,
He's like,
I was like, is this like a stalker or something?
Yeah.
I was going, I'm missing something here.
Yeah,
that was my.
And then he knocks on the door, and then before he knocks, he still goes,
Yeah.
Are you? And he's like, "Yeah," just like sipping his coffee.
But then and then he.
That tosser would have a coffee,
Yeah,
wouldn't
and
he?
the old Ben. But he's decaf as well, the prick.
But yeah, and then he goes in, and then what's weird is Julia Roberts got this like little suit on.
Yeah,
which
it was
like,
mad.
Yeah.
It was like, and I don't mind like a fucking like little pantsuit or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I prefer no pantsuit.
I prefer a thong. I prefer a flan.
But yeah, so she's got this this like mad suit on. She looks like. At first, I was like, "Oh, she's in costume for."
Yeah, I thought that too, and I was like, "It's very formal."
Yeah.
But
She's just come from Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be all the way up until that moment, the way she was dressed when she gets changed in the house, even the way that Hugh Grant is dressed, that is the way, like the '90s style is the way that everyone at uni is dressed now. Of that, like, class. And then when it got to that part, I was like, this is such a mad. But yeah, later on, she takes the jacket off when he comes back in, and I was like,
yeah, when she takes it off, it looks good, doesn't it? Yeah, because she has kind of has the tie. I think she has maybe the tie like loose or something. She has her breasts loose.
No, I meant the ties.
Oh, the tie. Yeah, carrying loads of ties.
Had to wrap it up. Yeah, and then they do the whole like horse and hound thing.
Oh yeah.
Like who are you with?
Yeah, and he's like, horse and hound.
Yeah, and he's like,
are you thinking about having
many horses in the film?
Yeah, that's it. The film was filmed in space. Perhaps not then.
Yeah. Any hounds and all this stuff, and then he has to carry on interviewing other people, and at this point you just be like, nah, I'm gonna go like that. But he's like, okay, sorry everyone, sorry, like that, and then he goes. And at one point there's a funny bit where he's interviewing that girl, and he's like, so is this your, like that little girl, and he's like, is this your first film? And she's like, this is my 21st film. And he's like, right. And he goes, and who's your favorite actor and or director? What are you actor?
Leo.
And she goes, Leonardo, and he goes, Da Vinci, like that. And the joke is that this guy, this 30-odd-year-old guy, 28-year-old guy, whoever old he's supposed to be, wouldn't know Leonardo DiCaprio. It is only 1999 after all, like that,
And he's still making jokes where she's like, DiCaprio, and he's like, oh yeah, Italian.
Yeah, Italian director.
Yeah, but it's weird because I don't get quite where he's landing with that, because he goes, who are you most excited to work with? And she goes, Leonardo. And he goes, Da Vinci? Yeah. And it's like, okay, if you're taking the piss, then okay, you're obviously like taking the piss. That you made a joke there, because obviously Leonardo da Vinci's been dead for 500 years. Yeah. So like obviously you're making a joke, but then she says about like, oh no, and he says, but who's your favorite? Who's your other famous Italian film director or whatever? Which is delivered almost like he genuinely doesn't know. Yeah. But it's weird. It's like, okay, so you know who Leonardo da Vinci is. So you're aware, because he was one of the smartest men in history, Leonardo da Vinci, polymath, scientist, whatever, right? And so, but you're not aware who Leonardo DiCaprio is, who by that point in 1999 would have been plastered over every single billboard in the country. 100%.
Titanic was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Like, what's it trying to say? Like, he's like so out of modern culture, but he knows who Anna Scott is, and she's not as famous.
Yeah, he knows who Anna Scott
is.
That's
mad, isn't it? Yeah, that's what. Richard Curtis. To be fair, he's the writer of it, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, especially in that first. Like the voiceover scene when he's like, people coming out of tattoo shops wondering why they got I Love Ken, and someone coming out looking like the Cookie Monster, and they've got blue hair, and I was like, oh, this is painful.
Fucking cringe. Especially when he's like, that guy's like coming out of the tattoo shop forgetting why he got I Love Ken on his arm. It's like, number one, tattooists don't tattoo drunk people. That's a fact. Right?
He should know that as well.
Yeah, he should know that of all people.
He's got loads of tattoos, Richard Curtis.
And
he's a clever man.
Fucking and then Richard Curtis, the bloke saying about the tattoos, and he comes out as if like he must have like fell asleep.
Yeah, stayed overnight.
Like 24-hour tattoo parlor.
Just fell asleep on the bed. That's what,
like fucking. So anyway, he comes out, and then Cookie Monster with blue hair. She comes out of the thing, and like there's
a lot of that where I was like, the writing is a bit like the funniest parts in it. Dylan Moran is kind of funny. And then Rhys Ifans are the two like, I hope we're saying that right. Are the two like comedy relief characters where you're like, they don't have to do much. Like, there's a funny part where he goes out and he does for the paparazzi, he does the whole like and then when he comes back in, he's like, looking, how did I look? Looking good. Then he goes,
his ass cheeks.
He goes, chicks love grey. Grabs his cock like that. And I was like, that's probably wasn't even in the script. Like,
no, definitely.
He was. I'll just add that in, and that's one of the funnier lines. It seems like Richard.
I think he's. I don't know the actor's name, but where they all get together. And he's the only one at his Hugh Grant's sister's party who doesn't know who Anna Scott is.
Well, I wanted to talk about him because he's a fucking.
He's funny in it because he's kind of like, I have friends in acting. You know, they earn £9,000 a year. Yeah. How much your last film? And she's like $15 million. He's like, so good then, like kind of thing.
Yeah, there's some satisfying scenes in it.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes.
I enjoyed the prospect, the future prospect of him like as they were walking up to the sister's house, being like, oh yeah, he's gonna bring like this movie star to like this like social gathering. It would have been even better actually, because all his mates are dead, like cringily supportive and weird, like weird fucking bond between them all.
Yeah, and
which is
like,
it's very like
an announcement.
Yeah.
Like, oh no! Like there's one point where the lady in the wheelchair is up for the 8th time being like, look, we have hard luck in life. Like, and I'm like, no offense to her, like, although I bet she wasn't actually disabled.
No, but what's funny is that, this is what's funny about how times have moved on. It's like that at the time was like fucking like, whoa, they've got a disabled person there.
To point out
but they're not she wasn't disabled person. She got in an accident and she's in a wheelchair.
Which just to show perspective. Yeah. That's all it's for. It's be so that when it seems he can use that, like, well, in the grand scheme of things, paparazzi isn't a big deal. And I was like, oh, that's why she's in this, like that. But there's a point where she's about to say something, and then that guy goes, she's like, and obviously sometimes in life, and he goes, you get fired. And it's a lot of like moments where they'll all just go, something bad has happened, like that, and in the middle of this meal where they're all having a good time and that. There's a lot of that.
No, it's a weird like like trying to get sentimental and then breaking it with humor and stuff like that. But yeah, so like he walks in, like, and then you think, I'm like, oh, this could be interesting. But yeah, all his it would have been more interesting if like he had like more people around him that kind of weren't rooting for him, who were kind of like, oh, he's annoying or whatever, and then he turns up with a movie star.
Yeah, that's even
it would have been
better,
more like fucking yes, mate, fuck you, I'm with a movie star.
He
Whereas they're all like supportive of him, and except that one guy who, the stockbroker, who. So he's a weird guy because he comes in, and also in London, I hate this, and this is true about London. And when I live there, I hate this fucking culture of like everyone's still got all the fucking work gear on. Like everyone's still in like
booties,
and it's like
briefcase.
Like just, and that's what it is in London. Like for some reason in London, people don't go home after work to like get changed and have the tea and come out.
Yeah, they stay out in
they
the
just
suit.
Go to because they're like, oh, I'm fucking so busy fucking being in London, being a Londoner, right? And then I've not got a chip on my shoulder, but So anyway, he comes in and he starts saying, when they're all talking about love and stuff like that, he starts because he's a stockbroker, which, and I'm sure someone says at one point, you earn a lot of money, says to him.
Yeah.
So, and he goes, at one point he goes, it'd be nice if anybody fancied me. Look at me. He said, I've not had a girlfriend since puberty, right? So, and he must be mid-30s at that point, right? Yeah. So this guy has not had a girlfriend since like puberty, which is what, 13, right? So he's never had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's a 35-year-old bloke, a stockbroker. You're telling me that he's just been having wanks
for 22 years.
For 22 years, he's been shagging all sorts of prostitutes, high-class prostitutes, all this kind of stuff, because that's the only reason you could surmise. Because if he's saying he's not, because you could say, oh, but he's having one-night stands, but he just said nobody fancies me.
Nobody fancies me. Yeah.
So that's such a seedy little weird thing to put in there. You're all sat round, and also fucking they're all. This is what
that's a good point.
This is what confuses me about fucking like upper class, like this fucking Oxford and Cambridge type comedy, is that it's all meant to be like really wholesome and light and all this kind of stuff, and then you've got weird shit like that where it's like, mate, this guy's a fucking creepy guy, and then also. So that and then his other mate who's going out with the girl in the wheelchair, he's asking, he's lighting some candles and they're like outside a bit in the conservatory or something, and he's going, so have you? I'm sure he said something like, have you bonked her or something? Oh yeah, cringe. Something he says. He says if you slept with her, and he goes no comment, and he goes no comment means yes, and he goes no it doesn't, and he goes yes it does. He goes, do you masturbate? Like that, and he goes
else having this conversation.
No, he goes, do you masturbate? And he goes no comment, and he goes, see, that means yes, and it's like, what? Imagine us having that banter being like, do you wank?
Yeah, not knowing that we all wank. Or not wanting to admit it either.
You bonked her.
Yeah.
You're like, no comment.
Have you bonked her?
No one reacts to it as well, like when he's saying all this like seedy little stuff. They're all just going,
but it is weird because, like you're saying, in my head, when you were saying that then about this character and him saying that actually means this, I wonder if it's just lazy writing where they've got a character.
It is. No, of course it is.
Of course, yeah. But also it's they have a lot of that, like, there's a couple of lines in there that are a bit like, oh, okay, that's, like, there's one bit where he's like, she kisses like a nymphomaniac on death row.
Yeah,
kisses
yeah.
like a nymphomaniac on death row.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you messes now.
kissing
is
like the most wholesome, you could have said shagging or whatever, but then a nymphomaniac on death row. And I'm like, that's his, like, I know what we'll do, like, we'll spice it up a bit, like that kind of thing.
No, that's it. It's like, obviously he wasn't meaning to, like, show that this guy was a seedy fucking prostitute user, but that's that. When I was watching it, with my adult brain, like, I was watching it, I was being like, so he's not had a girlfriend since puberty, and clearly they don't masturbate. Clearly they don't wank. It's such a mad thing. Whoa, all these fucking 40-year-old, 30-year-old blokes. And so I was like, well, obviously he's a stockbroker. There's some of the most, like, fucking debauched people.
How would they not know this of each other as well?
Yeah, I know.
Like, have they just met? Like, it seems like they have a strong bond over years.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, like, why don't they know each other more? Why do they have to make so many announcements when they see each other all the time?
And then Hugh Grant's sister, which is so weird because
she's a bit mad,
because the girl in the wheelchair looks exactly like Hugh Grant.
As soon as he walked in, I was like, right, that's his sister then. And then the other girl walks in, you go, wait, that's his sister.
Yeah. I remember it, like, happening. Like, I watched it the other day. I've watched it a few times, but even when I watched it recently, I was going, oh, that's his sister, And she was like, no, it's not. I was like, they fucking look twins.
Yeah. No, and his sister looks like a medieval peasant or something, like fucking medieval jester, like
the jester from Leicester.
Looks like a jester's hat.
Yeah. Like, she's, and bless her, I looked up because I looked at her face. I thought, and I misjudged her. I thought that's so inbred. Her face is so inbred by royal lineage, but she's actually from up here.
Actually, I would have said she
from
seems
Yorkshire.
working class. And Hugh Grant is, well, actually, no, the woman in the wheelchair's face is that, like, inbred within money.
Yeah.
Whereas she looked more like she could be in Wigan.
Yeah.
She could be in the circle.
Yeah.
So that she was weird, and then all the dynamic between them, it switches from having a bit of banter to being dead sentimental and like, of course, we can't have children.
Yeah. Just dropping those bombs.
And it's like, you fucking you got no pelvis, love.
Have they just found that out, or is she just like, remember, I can't.
Although, to be fair,
everyone else is like, we know. Well, you fucking said it last Christmas. What, we've got to listen to every year?
We've got guests.
But they're all complaining and that, like, that she's disabled and stuff. But when he was, like, lifting her up and, like, taking her upstairs, in my head I thought, I'd like that. Like, you got,
she
like,
even laughs so when she's on,
you got, like, a little doll. It's like a little doll, like a sex doll that you get. Do you know what I mean? Like a living sex doll. No. Right, but yeah, fucking no, but you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
No, obviously I'm joking, but
of course, I know,
but fucking, I don't know. No, it was cute when, like, he was picking her up, and also, like, that is cute when he takes her and he says, like, in the end scene when they all pile in the car, he gets her. You go, no, you're coming too.
Yeah,
it's cute. So puts the wheelchair in the back.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's a fucking sick guy, right? But But I did
it like a doll.
But I just kind of liked the idea of like being like, being like carrying her like to the bed, and then she just like lay there like that, and you're like, well, I guess. And then just like getting her legs, because obviously she's got no feeling in her legs, so you just fucking like flip it. I don't know, just seeing.
You're gonna next thing like do you remember when he pushed his girlfriend in the stairs?
Yeah.
I wanted to like this.
But
envisioned it.
People think it's shocking what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that I actually think that being disabled isn't a hindrance.
I think what you're doing is pointing out the benefits.
The benefits of, and obviously, like, a sex doll, I'm not saying that he would just have his way with her. Like, I'm saying, like, consensually, like maybe the sex wouldn't be, because basically I think that a lot of people may assume that if you're disabled, then your sex life will suffer. But you know, maybe it doesn't. You know?
If there's guys out there willing to take you upstairs and have their way with you,
carry
you there,
definitely.
But also put your wheelchair in the back of the car when you're chasing after Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
She's getting on a plane potentially back to the States.
But you know what? Fuck it. So what are we on?
We're pretty much on half an hour. So
we'll take a quick break then if we want.
Yeah, sweet.
Okay, welcome back, folks. We're back on Silver Screentime podcast with Ben Silver, Karl Porter, Phil Sutton, and we're discussing Notting Hill today. We've already discussed it quite a bit, but Karl, you had something to say.
I just wanted to say, what's your thoughts on the whole relationship between? Because I feel like
Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant?
Julia Roberts, Hugh Grant. I feel like there's multiple times she just like treats him like shit,
mugs him off
big time. Like especially one of the main ones is when Alec Baldwin turns up as a like so-called boyfriend.
That is gutting when that happens.
It's so gutting.
It's like quite a plot twist. But we're like, whoa, she has a boyfriend, no way.
Yeah, she's just kind of like, you need to go, and like, but then he turns around and he's like, who's this? And then he's like, room service? He's like, yeah, but then he's got like, I've got to go along with this now. And he's like, yes, I've just clocked off, but this is the last job to do. And then he tells him to take the bin out, takes the fucking rubbish out, orders like, he goes, what do you want? Like to her, like, what do you want? Ask now. And then he's just like butting it, being like just a proper like alpha male kind of guy, you know what I mean? Like slapping her ass and that kind of
thing.
Well, he acts a bit like David Brent, Alec Baldwin.
Because he lacked.
He says something like, wouldn't want a fat girlfriend or something.
And then he walks off and goes,
and he's like, hey, like that, walking up
the toilet. So
because I think for a moment I was like, oh, this is a sad scene, but also Alec Baldwin's kind of nice. This is Julia Roberts is horrible, and then when she's like, wouldn't want a fat girlfriend, it's like, oh right, okay,
the lighting's lazy.
They only have the back light on.
The writing's is lazy in it because you can just see straight through that, like he's painted him in this light, and then he's probably like, oh, he's not that much of a dickhead. I was put at the end, fat girlfriend, you fat bitch.
In the scene, he was like, actually, you've been too nice. Call her fat.
In the background.
Like,
and also, like, it's just so weird because it's like Julia Roberts is so slim and petite that it's such a weird insult because it's like
it's a 90s thing, isn't it?
Because it is a 90s thing, but also if you really want to be if you really want to paint this character who's like a manipulative person who's preying on your insecurities, surely he'd say, we don't want something she's got a big mouth, hasn't she, Julia Roberts? Like something like that would have been on a deeper level, like a better character assassination than I don't want a fat girlfriend.
Than just being like, oh, say something about her weight. Women hate that about the weight.
Well, that's it. It was just like, it's just very basic. But I think it seems basic because in the night then it was all maybe cutting edge, and now it's obviously so old and so dated that to us it seems like such basic banter. But basic writing.
It is a weird moment but it did do that to me where I was like, oh no, but he just had such a nice moment, and he was about to come up and
you're like, give me 5 minutes, and it's like, say yes.
But it is weird though. She's like, because she's like, do you want to come up? And he's like, yeah. I don't understand why he just doesn't walk in with her.
Yeah, he goes.
Well, she says like, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, like
women sometimes are like,
what shaving a fan
up and that, right? Like they want you to enter where you kind of go, oh shit, like and then because there's also like the bit I don't really get, like where it's like a bird's eye view camera shot of like her sat on that bench.
Oh yeah,
and then he starts to like walk.
He
away.
walks off. Yeah,
and I remember watching it going, what's he walking off for? And then she goes, sit with me. And he just like goes, oh, I'll turn around now and go and sit with him.
The smile. That's when that song starts.
The smile on your face lets me know that you need me.
I was like a bit of Ronan Keating here.
When it came on, I was like, go on. Like, was this out in the 1999? I thought it was like 2000.
No, but it's funny because like I just thought of you when that music started playing because
you'll know soon enough, people.
It's just that's because like I'm sure you sing. Don't you sing? Isn't that the song that you always sing?
I think like it's my kind of go-to song if I'm like pissed up and that.
Yeah.
Because obviously
No, I don't mean karaoke, but like you always do this thing where you do I gotta know, you gotta do that, and then you also do
no matter
yeah, that's it. So is that not?
I think that's that song.
No, that's
Oh no,
I think that's Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
Oh,
yeah.
But like that sort of era.
It's from that same period.
Yeah. What's the Ronan Keating song though in this?
Smile on your face makes me know. To be fair, it's a bit of a banger on the slide. I feel like the music when that kicks in, that's what makes it a bit iconic in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
When that kicked in, I was like, yeah, this is fucking late 90s.
Yeah.
I proper got into it a bit, but then the writing every now and again kept cringing me out.
Yeah, true. There are moments though with Julia Roberts.
Julia
Roberts is acting.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Hugh Grant where say when they're having that scene where they like sleep together and then they're like having that, you first started seeing someone and you like have the bed day where
Bed
you
and
don't really
breakfast
move, all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah,
that scene I was like, they're getting this right. Like,
yeah. What way like she goes, why are men interested in breasts and all that kind of stuff?
Like, let me have a look then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't possibly understand. I couldn't particularly tell you.
I mean, I could go downstairs and get apricots and honey.
Yeah.
Little apricots out.
Oh yeah, well. One of the moments before when you were saying about him, do you want to come up? Do you think you can come up? Or can you only come down? No.
When you come down in your pants
can
now.
you come up inside me or can you come up?
Yeah, come up.
What's happening?
Oh yeah, no. She goes. Do you want to come up? And he's like, I've not taken any MDMA.
Yeah. Well, he goes. There's lots of reasons why I shouldn't. And I'm like, what?
I know. Yeah.
What are you on about?
Me again. Get that film in Wigan.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to come up? Yeah, man.
I already have.
Yeah. Grab it. Flick it. Oh, I feel that.
Yeah.
One time. Wigan Pier.
Flying for time.
It's solid, mate.
But yeah, so then that Alec Baldwin scene happens. It did like hit me. I was like, oh, that is not nice.
And
that's
then
not nice to see.
Even like when he opens the door, doesn't he? And all the paparazzi are there after he's like slept with her, and then she again kind of like flips and gives him.
Well,
shit.
To be fair, there was a bit annoying from him because he goes out, they're all taking paparazzi, and he just lets her open the fucking door.
You would just stop.
Yeah, you would just go,
like,
wait a second.
Wait, but you would go, don't go near that door.
Yeah,
He'd make a massive point of being like, don't go near the door.
Yeah.
And then fucking Rhys Ifans comes there and he goes, I wouldn't go out if I was you. Like that. And like the most, I would be like, of course I'm going to go outside. Any person would be like, oh,
so why not?
Like, if he was like,
at least look
get
through the
away
keyhole.
from the door.
Yeah. Letterbox, no, definitely.
So mad. And then, but to be fair, and she's like, it's your mate, he did this. And he didn't do it in this, like, I'm going to get her.
Yeah.
He kind of said, like, Anna Scott's at my gaff, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing, innit, with his mates.
But she's screaming at him and going mad. And at one point, he goes, I think you're being splendidly unfair. Something like that.
Yeah, he does say that when she's like, he's like, you're being
splendid.
splendidly unfair.
You're
being unfair.
Oh, yeah, spectacularly unfair.
Spectacularly
and I'm like, that is not
spectacularly unfair. Us saying that somewhere in Salford.
But yeah, and all that fucking, that whoopsie daisy band.
Because he says it twice, doesn't he? Because he's trying to climb up that
thing,
and he's just clearly
whoopsie daisy
making a knob of himself where he clearly can climb over it, but it's just like, I'm going to pretend I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then she's like, whoopsie daisy? What are we in the 50s?
But also, like, if I was on a date and I had to climb over a fence, I'd be making sure I can climb over that fence. If you fall off it, you're like, that's ruined the day.
Yeah.
You're gonna look like even if you go,
he's been a bit of a pussy, really, because he's going,
it's
too high. I'll be like, no, even if my jacket gets caught on it, it's just like,
even if I fall off and my legs break, maybe you can later on. No,
use me as a sex doll
carry
later
me
on.
to bed. Yeah, there you go.
Ben, stop using me as a sex doll.
But yeah, so there's all that, and then when he's arguing with her, spectacularly unfair, and then he goes, "Calm down, have a cup of tea."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, everything's like, I'm not having your tea.
And then he stood at the door, and he's just going, "Can't we just laugh about it?" Like that, all this stuff. And she's just fuming at him while he's trying to say all this nice stuff.
Yeah.
And she makes a good point where she's like, "Yeah, I've been dealing with this for ages, so you've had 10 minutes of it, and you're acting like it's nothing, but this is a big deal and all this stuff." And then she leaves, and then it's like the whole, like, she's gone, and it's that, like, classic scene of him, like, some sad music playing, he's looking out of a rainy window, and
doesn't he go through that like transition of all the seasons walking, which I think at the time was like
again his friends
they're
always like setting him up, and then he gets with, like, she's been in quite a few films actually. She has like short hair.
Yeah, I think she was in Friends, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah, she was in quite a few like American kind of rom-coms and that.
I think wasn't Ross meant to get? She's like a British girl that Ross
No,
meant to get married.
That's
to.
Emily, but it's not her.
Oh, okay.
She does look like her, to be fair.
Right, yeah.
Right.
It's,
but yeah, that before that happens, that season's changing shot. Do you remember that one where he's walking through Knockhill and it keeps changing? I was watching it. Yeah. I was watching it going like, I think they have just dressed up each area. So there's a bit that looks like it's snowing. Yeah. And rather than like cutting it, I was like, oh, fair enough.
I think they did film like different locations.
I guess we'll find out on the bloody trivia, won't we?
That bloody old trivia.
Well, I usually what I do, I'll go through, before you guys arrive, I'll go on my laptop, I'll have a wank, and then I'll go through the trivia and stuff like that, and and usually write it down, interesting stuff in my phone. Didn't write down anything.
Too many wanks. You were like,
yeah. Because I was on bloody disabled porn. Sex doll.
Sex doll's Notting Hill.
Disabled sex doll, please. Send her to my house. I want to play with her without her being able to move.
That's what sex doll does, though.
So that shot. Have you got any of the information of the?
No, I was just going like, isn't it cool that? But so what we could do.
What I want to ask you is about what you thought about the famous scene where they're in the restaurant and she can hear them. You can hear all them lads, all them guys talking about her in a disparaging
and he goes
way.
over like a little muppet who would get slapped up and down. He goes over and goes like, I think it's like, and he's like, who are you? A dad?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, fair play to him. He's gone like, I'll stick up for you. But then
it's the worst way to do it.
Yeah, it's just like, you're gonna look worse. But then, she does well by going over.
Then she goes and then she drops that line at the end, which I think that like every girl from who watched Notting Hill used that as like an insult for the next like 15 years. She's like, I'm sure you all have dicks the size of peanuts. And like we're all meant to go, that's so sick, Julia.
Like, but now you kind of go,
you're like.
Yeah, and
all right.
Roasted little KP peanut there, innit? Karl Porter.
Like fucking. My penis is the size of a peanut. Have you seen it?
Get it out! Come on.
That's an Eminem lyric. That. My penis is the size of a peanut. Have you seen it?
That's not bad. That I love that one.
But just to jump in it, she also as well. I forgot why she gets angry, but. She turns up to his gaff because all them porno pictures have come out.
Oh, yeah.
And then again, she kind of like turns on him a little bit. I forgot what the reason is, but it's like, she treats him like shit. And when that scene comes up of the famous line where she goes like, I'm just a girl looking at a boy. To fall in love, which is like obviously iconic and stuff. And then he kind of just says, nah.
Yeah, he says
like,
no.
And I kind of felt a bit like, unlucky. You've kind of like... But then again, when she leaves, it's like, right, there's still like 15 minutes left in this film, so clearly they're going to get together. There was just a little bit of, for like split second where I was like, you treated him like shit quite a bit. So
and there was a lot of moments where you're like, you should be like, oh, fuck off, but he doesn't. He's just like buzzing. He just keeps going back. To bring you back to that shot, by the way, the long shot where William Fat Guy walks through Notting Hill during summer, fall, winter, and spring. Actually, it would be autumn because it's in England. Was actually 4 different shots, all filmed the same day. Computer technology morphed Hugh Grant seamlessly from one shot to the next.
It's a bit ambiguous, isn't it? Computer technology.
Like when was this written?
Back in 1999, it's like, Do you know what I mean? Now it's like, sound.
Probably something that Phil could do on Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Easy,
whoa, did you see Carl's gig? He was fucking inside, and then he was outside under a lamp with a fucking snow and shit. It's like, smile on your face, let's spin on a chimney. No. There's a truth in your ass.
There's a truth in your ass. And
Let me know if I can see it. Right, so, anyway, the rest of the film. So, then we've gotten to that bit where he's all sad. She's shouted at him. Then she
goes through all the dates, and he's just trying to basically get on with his life. But he's still obviously, And then again, she just turns up, doesn't she? At the
well, no, she's filming in London, and she's filming a Henry James novel, which he actually says to her earlier in the film, "Why are you doing all these stupid space movies? Why don't you do a Henry James novel?"
With horses?
With horses, exactly.
Horses
so then he goes down to the set to chat to her, and he sees her, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I'll chat to you if you want. Just 1 minute. Just go and if you come on, do you want to go and watch us do our thing?"
And listen to it.
And he listens and he listens to her slag him off basically.
Again, tight. Bitch.
They're all proper welcoming. Like as soon as he's like, "Oh, you know her, do you?
Yeah.
Come eat the food. Put the headphones on. Listen to everything."
He can do what he wants once
mad.
he's past like the security guys, because he's like, "I'm afraid you can't come in."
Yeah, are you Hugh Grant?
So, are you in this, Hugh?
Didn't you do that shot? What got filmed 4 different things?
Yeah, exactly.
You're in
computer
this,
technology.
We're right near the end now. Some of the lines that I did want to point out is when he's dating all those girls, and one's like, "I'm a fruitarian." No, I'm a fruitarian. And she's
which now would be called vegan, wouldn't it?
Well, there is actually.
Is fruitarian even
I think
more extreme?
Actually, well, the thing she's talking about isn't what that is defined as, but it's like I think there is some sort of thing where
they only eat things that fall from the tree.
Like raw
apples and shit.
Raw food and shit.
Yeah, she's like carrots. You killed them.
Yeah, you murdered those carrots.
You murdered these carrots.
Which is a bit like, all right, okay, you clearly like vegetarianism is new, and we're all taking the piss out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then there's that bit where, like Rhys Ifans, the lodger, is trying to give the information.
Is it Rhys Ifans basically?
Yeah,
because he's Welsh, innit?
Yeah.
Right. I always say Ifans, and I hate saying his fucking name because in my head I'm like, Ifans, it can't be that.
But I think it's
so
like
Rhys Evans.
It's like
I'm just gonna start saying Evans.
Yeah, because Rhys, like if you did it in English, it'd be Rhys with the 2 E's.
All right.
In the middle, and then Evans, but it's Rhys Ifans.
Rhys Ifans.
Just checking. Like when he sees her in the bath, and then he comes out, and then he just comes back, and he goes, "Just checking."
Yeah, and she's just like.
Yeah. It's if like
everyone's seen my body.
Walked in, I'd go, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
She's just like, "Hey."
You must be Spike. That's his name.
Spike. Yeah.
Well, when Hugh Grant goes to him for advice, he's like, "What's going on, mate?" And he's like, "This girl," and he's like, says all this stuff, and he goes, he goes, "I feel like I've taken." I'm addicted to love heroin.
Love heroin.
Oh yeah. He's like, and now I'm cold turkey or whatever. And
it's
then
like I've taken love heroin and I'm going cold turkey. And then he says another one after that.
Yeah, then he goes, "I've opened Pandora's box." And then Rhys Ifans goes, "I went to a school with a girl called Pandora. Never saw her box though." And I was like, all right, fair play. It was like, that's useful. But yeah, there's that, and then so there's one other thing I wanted to say was, do you know the bit where they've broken up and they're all at that dinner, and Hugh Grant's like, "Oh, I've decided I'm gonna be happy now, and I'm gonna get on from all the singing. That guy's been fired." And then his sister's like, "I want to make an announcement." She's like, "I'm getting engaged." And then we're like, we don't even know who she is. Yeah. But Hugh Grant goes, "Is she financially viable? Is he financially viable? I know nothing about this." And she goes, he's an artist with huge prospects. And I was like, that's definitely how my girlfriend describes me. It's her family. How does he do? Does he make a bit of money? He's like, he's an artist with prospects.
But it's funny when he says like, is he financial, whatever. But it's like, God, this guy's losing 300 fucking quid a week.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's not reliable.
Yeah, I know. That's a
aristocrat.
Yeah.
And then it turns out exactly. And then it turns out to aristocrat. It turns out to be
you don't want to know, man.
That guy. She just turns to him like, let's get married. And I'm like, that is the maddest part of the plot.
Yeah, because it's a bit like, did people just once it happened, they went, "Oh, they're meant to be," kind of thing.
Yeah, where people just like, "Oh, isn't that good? We always want." There is a lot of that in films from like the 90s and 2000s where, like, the sad sister character, like if it's a film about people going to a wedding, it's like the bridesmaid who is like no one likes. She suddenly gets with the weird guy. Right at the end, they go, "You two as well."
It's funny actually because Hugh Grant has this lodger who takes the piss. Now he's going to be fucking banging his sister.
Yeah, true.
In his gaff.
But also, if I was Rhys Ifans, I would be like, I'm not fucking marrying you.
So I'm not sticking to the script.
You've got a face like a fucking
jester,
pile of twigs.
You Yorkshire pudding.
Pile of twigs. Trying to picture it. It's her face.
No, bless her. When I say my face is not good to look at, but it's just the mood I'm in. So if anyone's like, "Oh, Ben's dead mean-spirited," he's like picking on other people's appearance and stuff. That's the way that our society is set up in this hierarchy.
Look, that's what'll get clicks on this video.
Yeah, rage baiting.
Slags off someone who was relevant 20 years ago.
Well, have you heard this thing now? Like, we're kind of talking about what we talked about off the pod, but fucking like rage baiting. Yeah. Like, so like people, like there's this girl who's like, she's basically like not that fit. But she's like doing loads of reels about like being like, yeah, this is how to be a super like be one of the best looking girls in the world, and like she's just baiting everyone in the comments to go, you're not fucking the best looking girl, you're average looking, all this kind of stuff. And she makes money. She makes $2 million a year off TikTok and rage baiting. So it's like,
because people just jump on it, don't
they? It's like, oh, imagine like being yeah, I've got 2.5 million followers on TikTok, and they're like, oh, you're smashing it. It's like, no, well, not really. I'm baiting loads of people into being fuming.
And also, like, it is a mad thing that we're like, this is like we have a laugh and we chat, and hopefully it will make us some money. But like being like, I'm gonna choose to every time I open my phone, people are going, I fucking hate you, your shit.
Yeah, loving it.
Like,
weird. Anyway, what do we have favourite scenes or any trivia that you want to, or should we go to favourite scenes and rating and stuff?
Also, should we discuss the ending?
Oh yeah, we've not really got
the ending. The ending where they're at the press conference, she basically says, "Yeah, I'm gonna."
So, what's your favourite scene?
Favourite scene? Oh no, you weren't being serious then, were you?
No, I was just saying because it was like, let's talk about the ending. You went,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So she says yes.
Yeah. Do you know,
to be honest, I kind of switched off at that point.
Oh, really?
Because I knew that they were going to wrap it up like that.
Yeah. But then they got married, didn't they?
Yeah, is that like, that's when I was, as soon as they're like, I'm just like looking, I'm like, there's a wedding there, like, is it them? I don't know.
I watched the wedding like that, and I was proper like engaging it, going like, he loses 300 quid a week. He's not affording that. And then she did make 50 million last film. I went, she's paid for it then, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Like, it's not real, but you know what I mean? I just got too invested.
You must be so
demasculate. There's the bit where...
I'll get off,
there's the bit where... the famous bit, what does he say? She says, I'm just a girl stood in front of a boy. Yeah, that bit. In that same scene, though, is... There's a point where he's like, well, what about all the fame? And she goes, well, I didn't quite know how much nonsense it was, but nonsense it well is. And I was like, where's this Shakespearean? Like, she's been talking like regularly the entire way through. Is this to show that like Hugh Grant's weird way of talking is like rubbing off on her or something? It was a really weird bit of thing that. And then it's that last scene where they're both... She's like, let him talk, and then everyone takes pictures of him, and he's like buzzing.
Yeah. It's a bit like, and it's mad as well, where the guy goes like, the guy in the pink shirt. It's like, all the fucking hands up.
Yeah.
And it's like they pick him, but it's a film, innit?
True. And as well, if that guy was like, I already hated the horse and hounds guy. The guy who picked. He was like, you're that dickhead.
Oh yeah, that little prick who fucking wanted horses in the next film.
Anybody have any? My favourite scene, just I'll throw it in there. That first dinner table scene where they go for his sister's birthday, and she's like watching like everything, like all these gimps just be rubbish banter, and she's going like, whoa, I'm like famous and we don't do this. Look at, they're all peasants, they're laughing over like just a burnt dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like that's my favourite bit, because I feel like that at most functions. I'm like, I'm so much better than you all, but ha ha ha. You took that too seriously. That's not the truth. So that's my favourite scene.
My favourite, I don't know about a favourite scene, but obviously I do find it like it is a bit tight, the scene where Alec Baldwin basically just it's
the biggest scene.
It's the biggest scene where you're just like, this guy's like getting an absolute mug made of him, and he's just going along with being a fucking room service guy.
But to be fair, like I didn't really see it like that. I kind of thought like that Hugh Grant looked like the sick guy in that scene, because it's like, because if it was me, I'd be fucking like kicking off and that, being like, you fucking bitch, you fucking fuck you as well, to Alec Baldwin and all that. Right. But he's like proper like took it like because he loves her. He's like, I don't want to drop her in it. So he's been like, I'll get all the rubbish.
I feel like that's why it's such a good like heartful scene in it, because it's like he handles it so well, where he's not going, you bugger off. He's looking at, he's kind of looking at Julie, little Anna Scott, just kind of going.
Yeah, no, your heart breaks for him a little bit because he's taking it so well.
Yeah, and she's just like, I can't, because she's got this fucking not madman, but you can tell he's a fucking polar opposite to Hugh Grant.
Well, there's a middle ground in that. He could have just been like, right, I've got to go immediately. But obviously, like, getting angry would have been like the end of it. And then also, but yeah, I suppose I hadn't really seen it in that light, where she's like, he's even being nice even though I'm being a dick. So it makes her even, and then compared to Alec Baldwin, who's like smacking her ass, being like, you fat bitch, and walking out.
No, it does. It like if you're being a dick with someone and they're like they're well within their rights to come back at you with like a dick. If they don't and they're like actually treating you with more kindness, you're like fuck's sake, I love this person.
Yeah, true.
But my favourite scene. I like I said, I like the first half an hour. I really like the first half an hour.
Yeah, that's a big scene. That
it's one of the biggest scenes of the film.
It's half the film. Yeah, but it's such a sick scene.
And it's somewhere in there. I kind of like the first few scenes when she's coming into the shop and stuff, and
they've got good banter then.
They've got good banter, and then
she's like, I was gonna steal something.
It's
well like filmed in it where like she's coming around the bookshelf.
I feel like I don't even have a favourite scene in it. I just have a favourite. I do actually like. I don't know. I don't have a favourite scene really. I just have bits, tiny little bits, like the bit where he's walking up, where he says to her, "Oh, I've got my sister's birthday tonight." She's going, "Well, I could come as your date."
Yeah.
From that moment until he actually walks in the door, that bit of anticipation
It's been that though as well, isn't it?
is really good. But once he gets in there and you meet all them posh freaks, I'm just like, oh, leave it.
Leave it.
And it just annoys me that like that's what Americans see as British culture.
One of the thoughts out of my head is this is the polar opposite British film to Billy Elliot. It's like Billy Elliot is like, in it odd, like that, whereas this is like, oh, very, very sorry everyone, but we're going to have a dinner party.
She's a barrister, and even though she's disabled, she's a barrister.
True.
And she, her, and, and like he's a stockbroker, but he's never had a girlfriend, and he's
wanked at puberty.
It's also really, I guess, what's bad.
Isn't Little Laundromat? He's got 3 novelty T-shirts.
You're being spectacularly unfair.
Rhys Ifans' fucking teeth are everyone's
teeth. They're like every American watching that are like ghastly.
Doesn't Alec Baldwin fucking make a joke as well that he's got about hey you Brits, you mind serving a drink that's not at room temperature?
Oh yeah.
He's and that's another thing that's like
in the UK.
Basically, all Americans' banter to terrorise the UK comes from Notting Hill, I think.
Right. Oh, you drink a lot of tea, don't you?
Yeah, drink a lot of tea. All you drink, all your beverages are warm, which
well, it's a cold country.
Well, this is it.
We want to be warm when we get in the pub. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I mean, beer is obviously nice and cold. But do they put ice in the beer?
Oh, I hope not.
When I go over.
I
don't have a favourite scene. My favourite performance in terms of who I think puts in the best performance, I'm going to have to say Rhys Ifans, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say the same, yeah.
Okay.
He's just that comical.
He's never cringe.
He's just himself, isn't he?
He's like he's a good actor. He plays that thing well. And he doesn't make, even though they've given this role of this complete idiot, you're working class, you're Welsh or whatever, so that means you're a fucking complete idiot. Right. Even though, but he never plays it with any kind of, it's never embarrassing or anything.
Yeah, it's like a blissfully ignorant guy.
Yeah.
And
it's
he won't
funny.
care as well, would he? Like even when he goes out to paparazzi, and he's like,
yeah, exactly. I think
he's
that
in his little speech. He's like,
good.
Like he even makes a joke where he's just like, good things to wear.
Yeah, the
briefs. I think.
He's like good
so
briefs.
war.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
to be fair, one thing that I watched when I was watching it, I was like having this thought about, say, if we get into acting through doing comedy and stuff, I'm always like, well, I better get in better shape for when. So if you had to take your shirt off, but I remember thinking like when he's in the interview, in the audition, is he like taking his shirt off and being like, look how mad I am, like that, and like because
he's not like
in his
ripped
boxers
up or anything,
and he's
like
just this mad funny shape. He's not in good shape. He's like mad looking as well, which I'm like, that's funny that he also is just. He seems, maybe the good thing about his character and his acting is that he seems to not give a shit at all. And he's one of the only characters that isn't like about everything. So you two pick him. Well, I think the only other person that I enjoy is Julia Roberts. Then I feel like especially when they're doing the like loving scenes and she's looking at him all lovingly, and like when she's angry, I'm not like, it's not corny. It's just like, oh yeah, she seems very angry, and I'm believing. I'm annoyed with her, so I'm like, she is unreasonably angry and she's playing it well and stuff like that. I don't really like Hugh Grant's acting in it that much.
He's the same kind of guy, isn't he? And
I mean, I've seen him in stuff more recently, and I'm like,
there is a film I want to watch recently.
Oh yeah, that Heretic.
It looks pretty intense, different from. And I think someone's like, oh, you know, it's different. You know, it's not a typical Hugh Grant film. I was like, good. Fucking want to watch something.
Yeah, as well. You can't be the young English heartthrob anymore, can he?
Shout out! There's a famous comedian actually in Notting Hill.
Is there?
He's the guy who tries to rob.
Dylan Moran.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I forgot he was like a little cameo in it, wasn't he? And I was just like, oh yeah, he's the guy from Shaun of the Dead and in a few films, wasn't he?
Yeah, Black Books. Should I get a bit of trivia about?
Yeah. Embarrassed about your mum, Sean?
Comedian Sally Phillips also had a small role as a dog water, but it was cut from the final film.
Dog water.
A dog walker. Dog water.
Just
the bowl.
Yeah, she's so good at acting that she used the dog water.
Dog water. Do you know who's in that bowl there? It's fucking Sally Phillips. I had to read it again. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say the trivia that I remember is that in what was it now? Oh yeah, there's a bit where Hugh Grant goes about when they're talking about breasts, and she goes, well, every woman's got them, and he goes, well, I don't know, have you ever seen Meatloaf's breasts? And it's weird because that film came out like 4 months before Fight Club, where he actually has breasts.
I did think that. Yeah.
I know. I heard about.
Have you seen Fight Club?
Yeah.
So Meatloaf, he's got them big tits on her.
I can't remember that actual scene, but I will.
Yeah, his name is Robert Paulson.
Robert Paulson.
We should watch that though.
Yeah.
That's something I've watched like 200 times.
It was one of your trivias. I heard the house. It was actually the director's house, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that
the writer's house.
Richard Curtis. Richie. Obviously, he's. Yeah, in his head, he's like, he's like a writer, and he's like, what would someone who owns my house be? A bookstore owner, yeah.
Travel book, man.
Yeah, travel books. He's like, people don't buy them.
It's so obscure, isn't it? Travel books.
I know.
It's mad because it is one of those shops where, does it make money?
Probably not. Well, like you said,
because you see all these shops though, like scattered around what's been there for 20 years, and you go, no one goes in there. Like, there's a shop in Chorley called Malcolm's Music Land. And it's like, you go in, it's got bare CDs.
Yeah, you do wonder how those
and all that,
places
and I go,
open.
No one's buying these. Like, they're all dust and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go in, you go, fuck, look how sick that is. But
yeah, I've no idea. To be honest, I don't know myself. I think it's like, even if you go in Superdry, in the Arndale, go in Superdry tomorrow, now, if you want, to open till 8. Opening hours 8 till 8, Monday to Friday. Saturday it's open till 10. But no, if you go into Superdry, they've got this massive store, just clothes everywhere, and it's like, you're not selling all that.
One of these.
It's how they like. You hardly see anyone in there as well.
No, exactly. There's never anyone in there.
If they've now resigned to the fact that you go into a shop and you try things. And you go like, oh, that's good, and you just go home and buy it on the website.
Yeah, no. Well, this
so
is
they
it.
Probably just go.
It's like a giant 3D billboard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Whereas you can't do it with books because
rooms and that.
No, that's true.
Travel books, especially Hugh Grant. Sorry. At least you've got Julia Roberts' money. So.
Better do it, man. 15 million, that. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. There's not a whole lot of interest in.
No, I went through it. There's literally like that Fight Club one interested me, and then I saw the one about the door. The door was blue, and then they painted it black, and then they did some graffiti on it.
Apparently, Sylvester Stallone was meant to play Hugh Grant's throat. Now, that was sick, wasn't it?
Apparently, Wesley Snipes was meant to play Julia Roberts' role, but he didn't want to shave his head.
So
what we rating it then?
I'm rating it. I don't know. Do you know what? I watched it before, like, obviously, like, this podcast and analysing it and stuff like that. I think I did watch it, and I enjoyed it for what it was in terms of, like, it was a silly rom-com, basically. And, you know, obviously you can't take it too seriously. Obviously, you know, all the critiques that I've had are from watching it with a critical eye because we're doing an hour-long podcast about it to talk about it. So, like, I enjoyed it, and I don't hate it as much as I thought I would. I don't, you know, all these people hate Hugh Grant because of this. But, you know, he's just fucking doing the best he can with his with the scripts that was obviously seen now looks lazy and a bit weak. But rating it, I would say
And as well, you've got to put it in the category of rom-coms, and like it's not like you're comparing it to like Taxi Driver.
True. That's a good point.
So I'm trying to think of it in like for a rom-com.
But I think it travels quite well. What I mean by that is that like not that the DVD, if you were to put it in your suitcase, would still work if you took it to Australia. But what I mean is like the plot and the narrative. It kind of it plows straight through until you're right. Like I said, about 40-50 minutes, I was like getting a bit like, right, what's going on here now? But that's quite a long time. Like, so it remains interesting pretty much all the way through.
Yeah.
It's not like some some other films where I was like looking at my watch. I'd probably give it a 3.
Yeah, I was actually thinking
on the slide.
Yeah, I think 3 because it is one of those like what's going to happen next in terms of when. There's always how many times did they just kind of go right, fuck it, we're done or whatever. Not done, but it's like, but then the next thing it's like, oh, she turns up to the to the shop.
Well, I suppose it is this whole like throughout the entire film that they're going like, will they be together? Oh, it's not that easy, and like that's what keeps you hooked on romantic comedies.
And also like it was at a time when like before dating apps and stuff like that, like when I think if you were past going out and stuff like that and you didn't have anybody who you were romantically involved with, you were kind of fucked basically. And so I think that people in the 90s really fell in love with that idea of like, people just love that chance meeting, true love type thing. Like,
I've spilled coffee on you.
Yeah. But and also like you got to take into account like because I remember at the time I would have been like 8 years old or something. I do remember it like
I remember
coming out and people buzzing off it, and obviously I wasn't interested in that kind of things at that age. I didn't like women. I liked little boys and stuff.
You liked little boys, didn't
you? When I was a little boy, but and girls, and little trans kids as well.
There wasn't many when we were kids.
There wasn't actually, weirdly. You were either, even gay. Like, do you ever remember? I know we're wrapping it up here, but
we're about to get. We're just. It's 3 out of 5 anyway.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 anyway.
3 out of 5.
Little gay kids. No, but do you ever remember like there was a kid in school and like you looked at him and you were like, right, you're definitely going to be gay.
And the often.
And the often were. Did you have a kid like that?
There's a few, and then there's also one where you go, fuck it.
Do you remember the names?
Nah.
I remember all the names.
I've got the names, the addresses, the number, how big the boxes are.
I meet them regularly.
Yeah.
No, his name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. No, I just remember that. I just thought, because in my head I was like, I'm like a fucking like, I've got a sick gaydar and I can like cast into the future really well. But if you guys are doing it as well, then maybe not. Maybe I'm not that special.
People thought I was gay.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Just because I used to like walk around and go, yeah, right. Like I take piss. Like literally, I used to be like 10, and I'm walking lessons away later. And I go, well, the thing is, and then people just go like, if I do that in like back in like the late 90s and that, my older brothers would go, do that again.
Yeah.
Watch what happens.
Yeah.
Like, what I mean, not thinking nothing of it, and then.
You can't dance, Billy.
Yeah. Dance, you little twat. No.
That's so funny. You're like acting like fucking acting gay, and they're like, I think Carl's gay,
How do you know? Like, we'll look out the window now. I'm in the bathroom going, in the bathroom. I'm in the fucking garden, just going, right. Cheeky bastard.
But
But yeah, Notting Hill 3.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
It's up there. With the rom-coms, I think.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at some certain rom-coms and you go, it's fucking too corny.
We'll have to go back to some of them and see what they're all about. So some of the rom-coms and compare. But yeah, Notting Hill.
Notting Hill, we've done it.
Nothing else to say about it.
No.
We'll die on this hill.
Because it's... listen, this was in Silver Screentime podcast. I've been Karl Porter, Phil Sutton, Ben Silver. Tune in and, we'll be... coming back next week with
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Arse Wide Shut.
Arse Wide Shut,
yeah. Arse Wide
Shut. An arse wide shit.
Arse Wide Shit.
Okay, look at the size of his shit. It's arse wide.